Alright, well thanks for coming out to the Academia Creating Surveys webinar. Okay, and we're just going to be setting those up and going over what different types of surveys you can create, where you would go to create them, what options you have on the surveys themselves, how you can actually schedule a survey to occur only during a certain period of time, the different types of reports that are generated off these surveys, and also some tips on replacing a survey with a newer version, or you also have the options to preview surveys before putting them out there. So, alright, and the first question is, what kind of surveys does Accudemia actually have? Well, you can pretty much create anything you'd like. I have a few examples of center evaluation, student assessment, and tutor questionnaires, which are all helpful. Depending on what your center is, you may modify those to suit your center's needs. And where do I go to create these? You're just going to go over on the left-hand navigation and click on Surveys. How do you create them? Once you're over in the Surveys section, you're going to go and click on Create New, and then go over to the Questionnaires tab. That's where you'd get started on creating them. Okay, and these are the different parts of the survey. Basically, you're going to create the title, whatever you want to name it. You can create the instructions, which would be the actual page title, because they're created in different pages. You know, if you'd like to have more than one page, and you can create all your questions there, and then choose the answers that you want to have there, and they can either be multiple choice or a text entry. And we'll go into that. I'm actually going to go do one here in a minute, and then just make sure that you save your changes whenever you're creating your survey. So let's go over to Accudemia and try one out. So like I said, we're going to click on Surveys underneath the left side navigation here. Alright, and I've already created some, so you're going to see they're here. Also, what I'd like you to notice is that these are all active surveys, and the way you can quickly tell that is over on the right hand side you have a green arrow showing up. If these were not being used at the moment, they would actually have like a red X on there. So we're going to click on Create New, and then click on the Questionnaire tab. Alright, and what you do is you can click the Edit Survey, so you can change the title here. And I'm not sure, we can call it alright, and then Accept Changes. We're going to add the first page to it. And this is the page title, but usually what I'll use for this is just some general instructions here, like okay, and then accept the changes. Alright, and then we're going to add our first question down here. Click on Add New Question, and we can create a question. Like I said, when you create the question here, you'll notice also you have the answer type, and you can choose either just a text answer or a multiple choice answer. So we'll just create a question. And you can also have a required answer, meaning that they couldn't go any further without answering this by checking this. And if you have multiple selections, like let's say you had different options that you want them to be able to select. Like, so let's say you ask why they were there. You could say they were there for tutoring and also maybe lab hours or something like that. So you could check this to allow for multiple selections. And just to create the answer here, I'm going to put yes, and I'm actually going to give it a value of 1, and say no for this and give it a value of 0. And what we're doing is we're giving it a weight, so that way when you go to do a report on this, you can actually see the like a graph of it if you'd like. And that way all the 1s will be recorded on there and the 0s for the no. And you could actually do that with like a scale. If you said, you know, how was the service, you could say good, better, best, or something, service that they've had or something. And you can keep on, you know, adding your questions. Like I said, just to show another one, we're going to say any additional comments, and we're going to leave it a text field and not required. So what we'll see what that shows. And what you want to do when you get to the end of where you want to add all your questions, you can just go ahead and save changes up here. Okay, we're getting a few errors, and it basically wants you to give it a name. So we didn't name it. And the other thing, it also wanted to know where we wanted that to show up at. Was the centers here. And that's by clicking on the centers tab at the top. We're going to set that there. So now we can save the changes. Oh, and one more error is asking who you want to see it. So we're going to have that apply to the students. And do you want to make it active, yes or no? We're just going to say no for right now. Alright, so here's an example. We created the survey and it's not active right now, so it's got the red arrow down. Alright. Alright, and then this is what options you have on the survey. I didn't really go into it because I knew we were going to get going through this, but on the General Information tab, not only do you have the survey name, but you can also set how often you want that to be shown to the user. You could say only once, so that way, you know, they get the survey and they're done with it. You could have it reoccurring every however many visits, and you could set it to like a manual amount of visits as well. And the survey event, you basically can either have it when they sign into the Accudemia, or if they access, like maybe it's a computer lab and you want to just know when they access the internet, and have it pop up then. And the sign-in basis is whether it's at the center, if they select a service, a certain subject area, or the tutor for like a tutoring session. And you can have this appear at the sign in or sign out, or once again at the access of the internet. And then your options, we saw we had to actually assign it to a certain group that's going to actually be taking that survey. And then also we had to assign it to the centers that you wanted that to appear at. And for us, we just wanted ours to appear at the computer lab in the library. So. Alright, and then the next question, can I schedule surveys? At the bottom of the General Information tab, which was the first tab, you can actually go down there and set show on every 3 visits or something. You have it remind them, like let's say you didn't have any required answers on there, or they bypassed it. You can have it remind them to take the survey every 10 days, and you can actually force them to have it taken after the 15 days right here. is in this example. And then also this is where we can actually set it to occur only between certain dates. So let's say it's an end of the semester survey. You could have it only occur in the last couple weeks of the semester. All right. What kind of reports can I generate? All right, before we go into that, I just wanted to go actually into Accudemia here so that we can actually take a look at that. We're going to go back to this one we created. You can either double click it or choose edit up here. And once again, we see the different options. So we have it set to center. I want this to actually be at the sign out, so we're going to set that. And we're going to have it show up every one visit. So, and we'll make it reoccurring. And then we already had set our center because it wouldn't even let us, save it without that, because there's, the basic things that you needed in there. So let's go ahead and save these changes. Oh, and we forgot to click that again, students. Save, and we're going to actually make it active now. Okay, so now you see our survey is active. Now, to test it, you actually have to be at a sign-in station for that area. So mine's already set up to that. If I go to sign-in station, it's if we look at the lab in the library, I have mine set in here. So, and that's me, Nick's desk. So we're going to take a student here and sign them in. Okay, and here's a center evaluation survey that I have. I'm just going to save the survey. Oh, it actually wants me to do it. So was I prompted? Yes. And I believe I had this as a multiple, so they can select more than one. Oh, and we have more questions. Okay. Alright, so we're going to select tutoring for art history here, and we're going to select Robert Drake. Okay, and this is the survey that we actually want to see come up now. Should be our survey we just created. Okay, here's a tutor survey. So I've actually got all my surveys popping up here. Okay, and as you can see, the red asterisks here mean that these are required. So okay, and here's our student update one that we created, and it's just a simple survey. We have the two answers here that they can choose on this one, yes or no. And have them fill out some text. Okay, so they've signed out. I know that was a lot of pop-ups there, but depending on how many surveys you have active and on the center, you can have it, have as many of them as you need, or only occurring every so often. So just sign back in here. Okay, so this takes us back to where we're at. We're going to go to the reports here that you can get from that. And you can see there's different options once we get to the report on how you can filter the report if you want a pie chart to be shown, and the different types. Alright, and to do that, you're going to go under reports here, and let's see, we got survey results and session survey results. So let's take a look and see what each one of these are. And if you're familiar with the reporting, you have all the different formats that you can put it into. We're just going to leave it on the PDF format. And on the surveys, you're going to just select which survey you'd like to get the information from. So we're going to go to our student update and hit accept. And we're going to have it show a pie chart because we did weight the value of the yes or no question. And just view report. Okay, so it's processing. Alright, view results. So here's just like a quick example of how easy it is to create your own customized survey and have it actually show up and implemented too. And as you can see, we gave each one of these a value, yes or no, and we only had the one survey, so it's not that much data. But you can get a whole range of different things on these charts. Alright, and then for the other report that we have is session survey results. So this is going to give us a little bit more information and also some more filtering options. You can see we can filter it by different tutors, the subject area, and also if we have the survey showing up in more than one location, you can actually break it into locations. And then there's also some other grouping categories here. So we're going to do a survey. Let's use one that I've had out there for a while, just so you can kind of get a better idea. We're going to have it show the charts, and we're going to leave this for everything. And we're going to group it. We'll do it by the center, so we get results for each center. Alright, so here's an example of our tutor questionnaire that we have. Was the and this is for the center of the computer lab. Was the tutor prepared? And you see they have very decent different ratings here, and based on that, it's giving you a pie chart because each one of those had a value. So it tallies up the counts, and it'll even give you the percentages there. And pretty much the same thing across the board here, just different questions. And it was actually grouping it by centers. Now the only thing is, I think I only have data for this one center. I don't tend to use some of the other centers, even though I have them there. Alright. And you have all the other options as well that you would normally have with the report, where you can share the results, download it, and even if it's one that's taking a while, you can actually have it email you when it's finished if it's sitting there for a while. And that shows up when you first run the report. So let's see if we got. Yeah, so right here, the email when complete. Alright, and here's one thing that you may not know if you're not familiar with creating the surveys. If you ever want to replace a survey with the same survey essentially, but you may have added new questions or changed them around a little bit, you may be tempted to go in there and actually just change the questions. But the way that Accudemia does this is each one of these surveys that are created, the data remains intact for the duration of that survey. So if you go in and you actually change it and then maybe change the dates that it's supposed to occur, you're still going to have the questions stored in there. I'm sorry, not the questions, but the answers rather, and it'll basically cause a weird report. You'll get, answers from the previous question as well as the new question. All right. So, and just as an example, if you had a question like rate my center, very good, good, poor, and then you changed it, do you like milk and cookies, yes or no, you're actually going to receive both of those answers. So the option that you have is to clone your survey so that you get an exact replica, and you can just modify the changes and then implement that new one. So let's go ahead and go over and try that. So we're going to go back to surveys, and we're going to take this, well, let's take a tutor questionnaire here, and we cloned it. All right, and then before we can actually make our changes here and then save them. So for instance, let's go here to questionnaire, and I've already got all these in here. Let's say we want to add a question though. And we'll just let them fill this one in. Nope, I was about to add another question, so let's go up to the top and then save that. We're actually going to just also probably, we like that survey and how it was functioning, so we're going to implement it at our mathematics center as well. So once we've made our changes, and what you may do, like let's say it's going to be the next semester, you can actually change these dates as well. Alright, so then you'd save changes. Okay, and it's going to have the same name if you didn't change it, with the name cloned on there as well. But if you want, you can also edit that. And maybe you could say, give it some kind of way of telling the difference between the questionnaires. And that way when you're reporting, you also have that information. If you go to your reports in the survey results, when you select your survey, you'll see it shows up right there with the name. And that's really the best way, so that way you have separate data, and it doesn't get overlapping with the changes made. Alright, and then the last thing here is you do have an option to preview your survey before it actually gets put out there. Like if you make a change to it and you save it, but you don't implement it yet, you want to preview it first, you can do that. You just click on the preview button there on the main surveys page, and so it gives you a quick idea of what your students are going to see, and it's just to get an idea of what it looks like really. Alright, and that's what I have for you guys. I'm going to open it up and unmute everybody. If you guys have any questions, you can just speak them through the microphones or type them in the chat window. Okay, one of the questions is if you select reoccurring, where do you put the number of times that you want it to reoccur? And it is kind of odd. It's actually in a separate section down here when you're creating the survey. So we're going to take the student update and edit that. So I have it set to reoccurrent, but then down here in the advanced settings I actually have to tell it how many visits or the time period that I'd actually like that. And that may have been in the chat window before we went over that. Yeah, and then I have another one. Can you set it for a particular service type? And that would actually be right here on the General Information tab. Instead of setting it for the center to show up only if a certain service is selected. So let's say you're a counseling center and you have mentoring and career services, and you want to have a different survey for each one of those services. So you could actually select that, and that way it would appear only then. And another question here, if you change the survey, does it warn you that there are already answers stored, I guess, is what he was going to put. No, it doesn't. So you know, best thing is if you're going to actually make changes to a survey that's already been put out there for people to make answer, you know, to answer or whatever, you're going to want to clone the survey and redo it. Because you will get that data corrupted. Basically, it's going to have the answers to the old question as well as the new if you leave it the same survey. Yeah, and I found that out on my own when I was doing that. I just thought, oh, I'll just make a few changes. And then when I did the reports, I got, you know, yes, no, and then like the range of, you know, good, better, best in there or something. Okay, I do have a question here. Does the survey link to the student's ID to know who it is that filled it out, or is it confidential? It is kept confidential because it doesn't show like what student answered. If you go to your options here, like when you do the report, and you do have the ability to select what tutors, like let's say it's assigned to a tutor, so you can select the tutor if you'd like to know, you know, just their surveys and the subject areas, but we don't have it set to where it's done by the student. Okay, does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, Nick, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If you set surveys to recurrent, so that means it'll happen over and over again until you reach, if you put an end date in there, is that right? So if you say recurrent 10 times, but you reach the end date, it'll just stop and it reaches the end date?
Correct, yeah. Basically, when you set that period, it's only going to occur. It's going to keep recurring in that fashion, like if you set it every 10 times. It's just going to show up every 10 times, but once that end date comes, it's done. Now you can always go back in and extend it so that, you know, they can continue to take the survey or whatever, which is okay, but just when you're changing questions and things like that, you don't want to keep it the same survey. You want to create a new survey, and you can do that easily with cloning.
So if I edit the rules, I'm okay with the existing survey. It's just if I modify the questions, then I have to clone it.
Correct, yep.
Okay, good, thank you.
Here, if you guys do have any other questions that are not answered in the webinar, you can email us at support@accudemia.com. Also, if you have any new ideas for the software, something that you see that is not able to be done with it, but you know you'd like to see those changes implemented, we do have a forum for that. Basically, if you go to accudemia.uservoice.com, and you can submit your ideas, or if there's other people that have already suggested it, you can actually add up to 3 votes per idea. So that way, you know, they basically get prioritized as to which ones, you know, more people are looking for these changes, and that way they'll be implemented later on in the software. Is it easy to link the survey to certain students or certain tutors? Yeah, let's go into a survey here. So let's say the tutor questionnaire that we just cloned. And with these fields, this is where you would have them show it to certain groups or whatever. So you have students, tutors, instructors, or system users. Um, the only thing is, I think it just shows to all of those individuals. But you can select, I think, different tutors that you could have it show up for. But I don't think it actually does by the students. There may be a way in the future that they'll have like maybe a grouping that you could have it show up for. But as far as I know right now, it's just the particular center. And you know what? Actually, this is a tutor questionnaire, so I have tutor selected already. Let me go to our student one, and that might be what it is. Okay, yeah, and under the student one, you can actually do it by the subject area as to where you want them to show up for. So if maybe there's only certain subjects, so essentially you could create a student group using the subject area field, but they don't have it using the actual student groups as of yet. But yeah, that's definitely a good idea, and we should probably put that on the user voice because you may want it only certain part of the student body. So okay, is there any other questions? I don't see any in the chat window. I'm going to unmute everybody, and I think that's about it, though. I don't know if anybody has anything. Okay, well, thanks for coming out, guys. And once again, if you do have any other questions, just email us at support@accudemia.com. All right, have a great day, guys.
Thank you, Nick.